Tiffany Henyard's compensation package includes $$282,000 from the township, plus a $$4,900 per month expense allowance. Even if she had resigned, she reportedly would have kept pulling in that money. A big paycheck for someone who has styled herself as a super mayor. You're talking about dropping a mother bag of public cash, and that's a lot to just walk away from, even for a self-proclaimed public servant. But now, Tiffany Henyard is just weeks away from leaving office after a crushing defeat at the ballot box. Well, crushing defeat is how the news anchors put it. Did she really get her but hand it to her? I didn't say it. That's what they said. And if Tiffany's watching, well, Tiffany, did you really get your ass hooped at the polls? And we didn't even hear about it? According to the news lady, you got hooped. That's what she said. Not me. Let's break this down. Questionable spending from Special Improvement Projects, SIP, constant clashes with trustees, and ongoing FBI investigation all piled up to bring Henyard down. Investigative reporter Ben Bradley, who broke many of the stories that expose the issues, has now returned to the south suburbs for a new accounting of Henyard's downfall. And Henyard? She's still in front of the cameras saying, I love y'all, and there's nothing you can do about it. Well, they can put you out, Tiffany. They can do that. The curtain is closing on the Tiffany Henyard show, but not before one last dance. When reporters asked, Supervisor, what's next for you? Well, we didn't get much of an answer. Look at Chemo, one of her close allies. Chemo ain't going far. He's busy siphoning up everything he can while the clock runs out. It's all coming down to the end, and when the bottom hits, that's it. He'll be gone, maybe running back to his wife or hiding out somewhere, but he won't stick around. And what's Henyard doing now? Standing outside, handing out milk and eggs at one of her famous food giveaways. Why all this food sitting out here in the cold? I don't know. I guess it's cold enough there that it won't spoil, but still, I don't trust it. Where I'm at, it's hot, so I just assume it's hot there too. But okay, fine. This Easter weekend, as cars lined up for blocks, tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars were spent on Henyard's final food giveaway. And here's what I noticed. Every time Tiffany walks up to a car, the people inside just happen to be the ones who love her. Every single time, they're like, we love you, girl. You're the best. Don't pay no mind to that negative talk. Them is just haters, girl. Hit the like button for Mama Tiffany. Please. One woman in line said, I vote for that woman, and I never vote. I didn't vote for her before, but I'm going to get me something to eat today. And there you go. But here's the thing. Tiffany does these giveaways live. She's always on camera, streaming it herself, showing people how much she's giving back. But she never walks up to the car and hears, look, I just want my food, okay? I'm here to pick up the stuff we paid for. But honestly, I wish you'd listen to the people more or handle things better. Nope. She only approaches the cars of the people she already knows support her. And then she turns to the camera and says, see? Everybody loves me. But no, it's always the same people. It's a tightly controlled bubble. Whenever she's out doing good work, cleaning up a yard, handing out groceries, it's always for her own supporters. She's not reaching out to the broader community or the critics. She's just reinforcing her own echo chamber. So, no wonder Tiffany thinks she's universally loved. She's only talking to the people who already love her. She surrounds herself with yes men. And even when she steps outside, she still only engages with the people she knows will cheer her on. In her mind, she's a beloved figure, except when she walks into a township meeting and people start yelling at her. Then suddenly it's, oh, I like the giveaways, but I don't like her. She's nasty. One person in line summed it up perfectly. I like the giveaways, but I don't like her. And there's another one and another. The news anchor had no problem finding people in that food line who disliked Henyard. They were lined up right there, plain as day. They're pulling up for food they already paid for with their taxes. Food she's handing back to them while acting like it's a gift. I wondered about that too. I hope people are still coming out to get the stuff, even if they don't like her, because it's their money. Whether they come pick it up or not, they already paid for it. But Tiffany sells a story like she's personally providing for the community, when really, it's the taxpayers' own resources being cycled back to them. Meanwhile, Henyard avoids exposing herself to any criticism. She never opens a door to feedback or suggestions. But oh, does she love to teach people. Let me teach you something. Let me learn you something. She says, always the authority, always the instructor. Here's the truth. Tiffany Henyard spends a lot of money, some of it on programs that do real good. But she's also benefited handsomely and questionably from the public coffers. Newly obtained records show that last year alone, Henyard was paid more than $347,000 from Dalton and Thornton Township, the two governments she runs. That's more than the mayor of Chicago makes. And Chicago is a major city. Break that down. Henyard's compensation includes $282,000 from the township, plus that $4 $900 a month expense allowance. This is no small change. And yet, even with all this cash, even with the high-profile giveaways, even with the personal and political machinery she's built, it wasn't enough to hold her seat. Questionable SIP spending, feuds with trustees, lawsuits, and the weight of an FBI investigation ultimately caught up with her. She boasted she brought $15 million into Dalton, but the village is still facing a $2 million deficit. She gave herself a raise and padded her compensation, while the community struggled to keep its financial footing. At the end of the day, no matter how many bags of groceries she handed out or how many photo ops she staged, the voters saw through it. The giveaways, the live streams, the carefully curated praise, none of it was enough to paper over the deeper problems. And now, Tiffany Henyard's era is ending, not with a triumphant send-off, but with a final tally of what her leadership has cost taxpayers and a long line of investigations and court battles left in her wake. Tiffany Henyard was pulling in $282,000 just from the township. And on top of that, she was pocketing a $4 $900 per month expense allowance. That's basically $5 $000 a month just to wipe her ass with, figuratively speaking. She was handed $5 $000 worth of public money every month just to burn through however she pleased. And that's not all. She also had an $1 $100 monthly vehicle allowance. Why does the mayor need a vehicle allowance? Presumably it's to help her cover car payments or transportation costs. But here's the kicker. Tiffany wasn't even driving her own car. She made the township, or the village of Dalton, pay for the SUVs she rode around in. That didn't come out of her vehicle allowance. She also had the police on the clock, paid public dollars, to drive her around like she was royalty, the Queen of England basically, and again, none of that came out of the $1 $100 monthly car stipend. So what exactly was she doing with that vehicle allowance money? It sure wasn't covering the SUVs or the chauffeur service she had the village pay for. Honestly, that $1 $100 a month? She could have bought herself a decent Honda Civic with that. But no, all that money was just stacked on top of the already enormous pile of public cash she controlled. And here's what's even crazier. If she had just toned herself down for 5 minutes, if she had just played nice and stopped acting like an untouchable super mayor, she could have kept that bag rolling in. What's wild is that even though the next person who steps into the role will earn something like $50 $000 a year, if Tiffany had resigned voluntarily, she reportedly would have continued pulling in her much higher compensation package, or at least part of it. She was literally dropping the bag, and not just figuratively. Her only real job was to manage and distribute services that were already there, not to center everything around herself. The township is supposed to be about services, not about building a personality cult. But Tiffany managed to make it all about her. And let's not forget, she also got her boyfriend a $100 $000 a year township job. They were out here dropping the bag, dragging the bag, letting the bag roll down a hill until it landed right at the edge of a sewer drain, the kind where Pennywise from it lurks. The clown snatches the bag, and now if Tiffany wants it back, she's going to have to stick her hand in there. And you know how that goes. Spoiler alert, it's not going to end well. All she had to do was stop being so arrogant. She couldn't do it. Dalton taxpayers, meanwhile, spent 6 figures on 2 SUVs, police vehicles, by the way, used specifically to chauffeur her around. Trustee Gray ever pointed out the hypocrisy. Henyard had all these allowances, all these benefits, but she hadn't attended a single township board meeting since losing re-election. Why not? Well, she can't go to the meetings. And here's my theory, because Kamal can't go to the meetings. And Kamal doesn't have a job anymore. So if Tiffany isn't keeping an eye on him, Kamal's going to be off somewhere chasing some woman named Candace in a hotel room. That's just my theory, but I stand by it. When a reporter asked her, "Since your defeat, why haven't you been to board meetings? You're still getting paid. Why not show up?" The silence was telling, because going to those meetings would require doing the right thing, and that would be too much like accountability. And you could see it on the reporter's face. He was relishing the full circle moment. You could almost hear him thinking, "Remember that time, Tiffany? Remember when you tried to gaslight me in that hallway when I asked you about the Vegas trip? Remember that? Ooh, how the tables have turned. Stephanie Weedman, who worked for the township for 20 years, blew the whistle on many of Henyard's antics. She put it bluntly. It just proves what she was doing was selfish. It wasn't about the people. And here's the thing, and I've been saying this forever. If Tiffany had just admitted she made some mistakes, people probably would have moved on. She always had someone she could have reached out to and said, "Okay, this got a little out of hand. Let's reel it in. You be my intermediary. Help communicate with people because it's harder now after everything that happened." If she had done that, people would have been so relieved. They would have been like, "Thank goodness. Finally, she's acknowledging the mess. Now we can fix things." She probably would have been easily reelected. But no, Tiffany Henyard was stubborn to the bitter end. Through and through, she couldn't be told anything by anybody. She surrounded herself with loyalists, brushed off criticism, and convinced herself she was untouchable. That attitude ran deep inside her, and it ultimately brought her down. In the end, she wasn't willing to step back, humble herself, or listen to the people who were trying to save her from herself. And now, here we are, a township left to pick up the pieces, taxpayers left footing the bill, and a political career that could have easily been salvaged if she had just paused for 1 second and decided to stop making all about Tiffany. If you want, I can turn this into a polished editorial article or organize it with sections and subheadings. Would you like me to? There's no reasoning with Tiffany Henyard. There's no logic, no negotiating. No, if we just sit down and talk this through. None of it. That's what used to piss me off so much when people would come up and say, "Y'all need to just work with her." What are you even talking about? Do you think they haven't been trying? Are you not watching the same train wreck we're all watching? Literally everything they've been doing, day in, day out, has been them try to work with her. She's the one who shut that down. She's the one refusing to engage. Stop talking to the board like this is somehow on them. There's nothing left for them to do but get rid of her. That's it. That's the only option left. Every 2 weeks, this mess was like a sitcom rerun. And then there's Tiffany standing there saying, "Y'all is black. Y'all black. Y'all black." Like, you think I don't know they're black? I'm sorry, but I don't think there's ever been a day in my life where I woke up and forgot I was black. Nobody needs Tiffany Henyard reminding them of that. That's why we say, ain't got to do nothing but stay black and die. Because that's it. That's the fact of life. So what exactly is she trying to say? That being black means you're not supposed to notice when people are doing wrong? Is that supposed to be some kind of black trait, Tiffany? Are we known for just not noticing? Oh, right. Thanks for reminding me, Tiffany. I almost noticed you were scamming. But then I remembered I'm black, which apparently means I don't notice when people are pulling shady moves. Please. And then, of course, anytime anyone called her out, she'd whip out the line, "You're attacking a black woman in power. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves." Meanwhile, WGN Investigates had documented first-class trips Tiffany and her entourage took on the taxpayers' dime, racking up well over $$100,000. Stays at the Four Seasons, expensive steak dinners, lavish late 2023 trips. And how did she explain it all? She stood there and said, deadpan, "I do not handle anything as relates to credit cards. As you heard me speak today in my board meeting, I do not handle that. Look at her. I don't handle no credit cards." Like she's trying to tell us. Remember when they tried to hand me a card and I said, "Hell no, I don't want that." I told them, "You give it to the guy standing next to me, and when I need something, I'll tell him to swipe it. And when we get caught, he gets caught, not me. I'm free, he ain't." That's the scam. She didn't want a card because she knew cards equal a paper trail. Cards equal prison. She wanted to make sure that when the moment came, she could say, "Card? What card? I don't know anything about a card." And then, when reporters asked her point blank about some of these charges, the circus really started. Some of those charges were for you, though, right? She plays coy. "No, sir. You didn't go to Las Vegas?" /beat. What? Comedy. You don't know if you were in Las Vegas? And then finally, when pressed, "Well, yes, I was there. Yes, I did it. Yes, I'm going to jail, and the taxpayers are the ones stuck with the bill." It's almost funny if it weren't so infuriating. And the perks didn't stop there. The township supervisor and others got $600 per day for every day they traveled out of state on township business. Per day. And for in-state travel, $400 a day, plus the cost of their travel expenses. Wait, what? So every time she left Illinois, Tiffany was handed $600 per day to spend. And when she traveled within Illinois, she got $400 a day. And this wasn't her own money. She wasn't spending her paycheck or her personal funds. This was all coming out of township money, Dalton money, public money. So, what was even the point of her drawing a big salary if she never had to actually spend her own money? Why did she need to pull in hundreds of thousands of dollars if every single expense, every meal, every hotel, every flight, was covered by the township? She could just hoard her salary in the bank while living entirely off public funds. It's weird as hell when you think about it. There's no getting around it. Tiffany Henyard was living large on the backs of taxpayers, convinced she was untouchable, convinced nobody could hold her accountable. But here's the truth. The people did notice. The board did try to work with her. And the idea that they somehow just needed to work it out with her is nonsense. They tried. She's the one who refused. And in the end, there was only one solution left. She had to go. If you want, I can help you shape this into an even more structured editorial or formal article. Want to draft that version?